Hey, foodie friends, and welcome to Chef's Recipe Spotlight with Jessica Ann, where we love to do what we do best, and that's talk about all things food. We are so excited to share our culinary creation of the day, a flavorful old school feature that deserves a discussion, and that recipe is cabbage casserole. This one probably brings you back, man. This one's like your grandparents probably made it. It definitely was developed in the 1950s on those super tight budgets where almost everything included a can of condensed cream of something soup. And of course, cabbage was super cheap. But we've made some elevations to this recipe. So while it's still kind of that homey comfort food that grandma's going to love, it is also elevated a little bit with a few other ingredients. So let's get started. Okay, we're going to need to preheat the oven to 350 and coat, a 2 quart casserole dish with cooking spray or vegetable shortening, whatever you want to do. You can even use like a neutral oil if you want. Go ahead and set that aside. You can use something like a 9 by 13 pan if you want to. It'll just be a little bit thinner and you might want to cook it for a little bit less time. But if you're one of those people that really loves the crunchy edges, 9 by 13 is probably the way to go. If you want something that's a little bit creamier, the casserole dish is your best bet. Okay, so you can now either chop or shred with like a mandolin 1 head of green cabbage. I like to use about 1/2 inch strips. I want them to be easily chewable, easily to fork up. Break those apart. Melt about a 1/2 cup of unsalted butter in a large skillet. I do like using unsalted here. There is extra salt in this recipe, and I don't, if you do use a salted butter, omit the kosher salt. Okay. Add the cabbage and 1 sweet onion. I want that like sliced, or although you could also chop it if you wanted to, and cook for about 5 to 8 minutes. You want it to start to soften and become fragrant, but you want it to still have some shape and be a little toothy. And that's when you're going to add the fresh garlic. Okay. Go ahead and mince that up, add it in. Garlic cooks faster, so we want to add it last so that it doesn't burn. If it burns, it gets bitter, and that's yuck, right? Okay, so transfer all of that mixture to a large mixing bowl. You're going to stir in, and foodie friends, you know I do not like cream of something soup. It is not my favorite. I avoid it like the plague. I make my own cream of somethings, but this is one recipe where I'm going to allow it. So you need a 10-ounce can of cream of celery, cream of chicken, or cream of mushroom, your choice. I like using celery, staying in the vegetable vein for this one. A 1/2 cup of freshly shredded cheddar cheese, 1/2 cup of cooked crumbled bacon, 1/2 cup of mayonnaise. That's going to be our binder here and keep it smooth and creamy. And a 1/2 teaspoon of coarse kosher salt. Unless you use that salted butter, then omit that. And a 1/2 teaspoon of black ground pepper. Okay, stir this until it's combined and then put it all in that prepared casserole dish. Spread it out so it's super even. In another small bowl, take 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter, melted, 1 cup of shredded cheddar cheese, and 1 sleeve of Ritz crackers. Okay, the sleeve of Ritz crackers, you can just kind of coarsely break those up with your hand to make crumbs. You don't need to get out the food processor or anything. If you want them to be a little bit more more small, then put them in an airtight plastic bag and roll over them with a rolling pin. Okay, take that topping and put it over the top of your cabbage casserole so you've got a crunchy crunch for that. Okay, bake it for 30 minutes uncovered until the top is golden brown. Then remove it and let it sit. You need those 10 minutes to really let it sit, let those flavors marry, let everything reabsorb back in and cool off because, gosh darn it, you're going to burn your tongue. Now, if you're like me and this is just a lovely shade of brown, then you might want to top it with a little bit of parsley just to make it look fancy, but that's definitely not needed. Okay, well, there you go. Old-fashioned creamy cabbage casserole. Ours has bacon and a few other festive things in there like onion and garlic. As always, we hope to give you some culinary inspiration. We love hearing your thoughts, comments, experiences, tips, and tricks. Just leave them in the comment section and make sure to subscribe wherever you subscribe to your podcasts. Thank you for stopping by. From my kitchen to yours, have a fabulous day.